Hello, Pappy. Welcome to Monday Night Live. Right now, I'm working on my JYLLAND right here. I'm antiquing the hull right here, getting that copper out there, and just using a immersion of white and green. Gives it the immersion of being out in the salt water, which okay. Put this over here. I want to knock this stuff over. I'll be in bad shape. No, it's wood. Yep. Just gotta meld those greens and whites together. It really brings it out. This is a Danish frigate, JYLLAND. This is a Billing Boats kit I had for years. It's a dark green right here. Oh boy. You still haven't got those blocks yet there, Bruce? See, the thing is, problem is, I don't have a license to get to the post office. I have my son-in-law sent those blocks in. They should have been at your house. As soon as he gets home, I want to question him about that. Man, I'm telling you, this is getting too damn long. Actually, you should have got those a long time ago. Man. God. There. Gosh damn. I'll get a hold of him, find out what's going on. Yeah, I sure do. Edgewater, Florida. I sure did. You see, you're looking very good, Bruce. Very proud of you, buddy. You're looking very sharp. You're miles ahead of me, but I'll catch up with you. Oh, these damn flies around here driving me nuts. Let that dry a little bit. Get the other side on. Needs a little persuasion right there. You weather your hulls like this, first thing you gotta do, you gotta paint it copper. You paint it copper, then you add your white, and add your grain, a lot of center, mix them together, and it comes out like this. There's a real immersion of salt water against that copper. I went on YouTube, they have the JYLLAND on there, in Denmark, and I discerned a lot of detail in that thing. I learned one thing about the JYLLAND. This is a steam frigate. It has a retractable screw, like that of the CSS Alabama. When you got no sail, no wind, we'll make a fast getaway. Lower that screw, engage it to your stuffing box, And you can have steam and chill together and you go real quick. It got cold last night, I'll tell you that. Probably gonna be cold night. Well, they got fall weather coming in. It's very cold for everybody, you know. You guys working on anything right now or just going and chilling? I probably have to mask this off and touch up that black because some of that paint's probably bled through. I can't do that until this stuff gets nice and dry. When this is all dry, I'm going to go ahead and take some 600 grit sandpaper and sand over it, bring the copper back a little bit. And when it dries, I got to put the white stripes across there and chalk out the gun bays. I like working with wood chips. They're pretty good to work with. Okay, come over here to this side. First of all, you put your white in like this with your white. Put vertical streaks of white on it. You go back over the grain. Use a lot of thinner, you can merge it together. It'll blend in. Keep about 3/4 of an inch apart from each other. Now you bring in your grain. Paint I'm using here is about 60 years old. It's Billings paint. It's oil paint. It lasts forever. Oil paints and enamels work a lot better than using acrylic. Because acrylic will just wash out. That's the only advantage you can't use with acrylic paint to this kind of work. Mixes all the way down to the tape. We got the waterline taped off. If it bleeds through, no sweat. Let the stuff dry first so you can mask off the top of your waterline. Airbrush it with your black or use an aerosol can, whatever you want to use. I learned this technique from my father. It works very well. For a good dry, I say using a turpentine. Turpentine's hard to get now. Ever since those EPA got on all that goddamn petroleum jazz like that, everything turned to acrylic nowadays. It's kind of hard to find turpentine, so what I use is acetone. Acetone is a good drying agent. Makes them more read a darker green. Went outside, take out some trash. I had a big old buzzard out in my backyard. They saw I had trash in my hand, so he started following me around a little bit. I've never seen a buzzard come to me like that before. But he came up to me bigger than hell. He tried to follow me with that trash I had. I said, "Hey, buddy, you want something to eat? I know you're hungry." He could smell that trash in there I had. I think it was some hamburger or something there. I was hand feeding that goddamn guy with my hands. I'm surprised he didn't regurgitate on me. Because they'll do that. Buzzards will do that. They do that as a defense mechanism. He was a big one too. He was. I bet that span of his is probably about 7, 8 feet. He was big. Of course, it gets cold up north. They all fly down south in the wintertime, you know. So it gets pretty warm out here in Tennessee, especially in the wintertime. It gets cold out here. It does, but nothing compared to up north. Well, I tell you, that last winter we had was something else we had. Yeah, it's white in there. Different tones of green, darker greens and more lighter shades. Like a 6 watching, 5 thumbs up. I haven't heard nothing from Freddie for a while. I haven't heard nothing from Tony. I hope Tony's okay. Pretty good. All feathered in. Well, it's melting it pretty well. Just working in. Don't be bashful doing this. You screw it up, you get bashful. Work those colors in like they're meant to be there. You got to think of copper and salt water. What happens to copper? It turns to a color like this. I seen the hull of this thing down there on YouTube on the did a walk around the ship there. Boy, it's all rotted out through here and everything. Jesus. If that thing ever went in the water, that thing go down like a stone. Okay. That's white. Goes over here. Let's see that white. I need that white really bad for the white stripe on this thing. Plenty of paint there, and I airbrush that. Okay, move this stuff out of the way. Good brush right there. Put that in my brush can. A little of this stuff. And it does not get some fresh acetone in there. Dry pretty good on the other side. A little tacky. Not ready for sanding yet. Hey, Danny, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm working on my Billing Boats Frigate JYLLAND. Right now I'm weathering the bottom of the hull. I've already airbrush copper on it last night. I went in and added greens and whites to it. Drip the immersion in salt water. It dries on get a good sanding, wet, dry sandpaper. Sand down a little bit so you can bring that copper back a little bit. Yeah, ship modeling, a little different deal, Danny. It's a time-consuming hobby, very slow. I've been on this thing for about 7 months now. I've been on this boat right now. It's taken 7 months to get this far on it. This is plank and frame. You gotta build the frame first and plank it off individually. Yeah, it's a little dry over here. You guys got excuse me, last couple days I was tired. I'll get, I've been cat napping a lot. Going to bed 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6. Wake up at 9, up all day long. It's another cat nap, up all day, up all night. That's all I do. I want to sleep comfortably. I slept like a baby all last night. I got a good night's sleep. A little melting out there. Salt that up a little bit more. Good. Almost dry. You see how the mergers of the greens and whites mix together, just like the real thing. Yep, exactly. Then when you get done, you take some, where the hell's it at? Wait, I ship it, I know. I had a while ago. Where is it at? It's over here somewhere. You take a 600 grit black and white sandpaper when it dries. Then you do a little light sanding on it. What it does, it'll low relief the greens and whites. It'll bring the copper back a little bit. You can see a little copper in it. My dad showed me that one time. My dad used to be a critic on me. He used to yell at me all the time because he was a model maker himself. He worked on the, like I said before in the video, past videos. My father, he'd work on models 10, 15 feet long. Usually had about 4 or 5 guys working on it. You always had the master that stood behind you and watched you. And and like my dad did the same thing the master would do. Like I was actually a student or a worker there. I remember one time when I was painting, what was that ship I was in? It was a Flying Cloud. It was the old Revell 1957 kit came out. And 1957 was the clipper ship called Flying Cloud. It was box scale. It's probably about that big. Now, so I read the instructions. I start painting copper. The guy goes, "You're not done yet." Says that paint copper. Oh, that's right. That's the only authentic part of the instructions of that model. It's copper hull. But you're not done yet. I says, "I just got them painting it, Dad. I already painted it all copper." He says, "Done to me." He says, "No, it's not. Let me show you something." He went and got some turpentine, got some green and white, and did this to it. I go, "Wow, Dad." He said, "Now, if you were building a model, not using intensity of the versions of salt water with the copper, causing the corrosions turns into a color like this." He said, "That master would got behind you, shoot your ass out, and he would have fired you on the spot." I said, "Wow." I said, "That's pretty neat effect." But that's so first of all, you gotta stoke your white on first. You gotta do it when it's wet. Can't do it when it's dry. That copper is not dry yet, but it's good because it needs to be wet so it'll mix in with the paint. He took back years ago. You used to get the Revell paint sets, like tester paint sets. Had little bottles like this. 10 of them, 10 colors on one bottle of thinner, and the brush came with it. Revell had them, Aurora had them, and Testers had them. Back in time, it was Revell paint colors. You take that green, put that green on it like this. Don't take the white, put the white on it. Then you'll get that turpentine, put it in a jar, take a brush, and brush it in like that. It came out just like this. I go, "Wow, Pop, that looks real." And it says, "There you go. Now it's done." I said, "Wow, Dad. Now what? I'm gonna start doing that all my clipper ships like that." Yeah, it looks out there that way, right? I mean, it's optional. It depends on how the client wants it. If you're building a dockside model, sometimes they refer as realism as you can. If you want an antique weathered hull, you have to go this method. If you want just plain and simple, it's all copper and that's it. A lot of people go to the extent of getting copper plates and put copper plates on there. That's time consuming, very time consuming. But it's tedious and it's well worth it when it's finished. Then they go over and do stuff like this on it. It depends on the builder how you want to go. If I had a bunch of copper plates, this only model I had to build and have to worry about it, I'd go that method. If I was building this for a client or something like that, I'd do that. But I'm building for Frankie Day, and that's it. I myself, the only worst critic. That's easy, Pappy. Like I say, there's some bleeding through there. I know there is. Once it's dry, I have to get it all sanded out to roller. I'll pull up the tape and mask it up here, then hit it with an airbrush. It'll be nice and straight. No big deal there. Child's play. For an overall appeal, when the kit's all done, it looks like this. I don't know, Danny. Ravel's changed out since Lou Gossett died. Ravel's kind of went to hell. He was pretty much like a tube of glue to the Ravel Model Company. Ravel came from Revlon. Revlon used to make fingernail polish, rouge, lipstick, stuff like that. And his wife, she used to work for Revlon. Then him and a couple other guys got together and made the company Ravel. And so they said Revlon, Ravel. Ravel sounds pretty good. Instead of Revlon, Ravel's okay. It's a good company out of Venice, California. And most of their kits weren't in conventional scale like it is today. They were box scale. So it means you have a box that big, models either the same size as the box or a little smaller. Really odd scales, but back in those days, there was no such thing as river counting, and scale is just how they designed the model. They had some good models back in those days, very good. The Testers is good paint. This is Testers. I got a whole bunch of Testers, little bottles. I can remember, fellas, you paid 10 cents for a bottle of paint like that back in the 1960s. Nowadays, they still sell them, that paint like that. They're probably about $2 or $3 a bottle. Unbelievable. But they still make these. Last time I've been in the hobby shop was about 8 months ago. I have been in the hobby shop in 8 months. 8 months ago, I had my independents go to a hobby shop. They had these in packs. I think they're about $6 or $7 for a big old pack of those things. Back in the 1960s, 1950s, only paid $1. $1 for a whole big old pack of colors like that. It came with a thinner, a brush, and of course the paint colors itself. Like all my friends, people go, man, how come model was so cheap back in those days? I'll tell you why it was cheap back in those days, guys, is because it was such thing as credit cards. Credit cards turn into the worst enemy in the revenue. It's called supply and demand. When you got instant money, buy this, buy that, buy this, you're constantly buying and buying. They go, geez, we can keep the stuff on the goddamn shelf. What are we going to do? Raise the price. They'll slow them down a little bit. And they're still buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. Supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. They're still doing it. Make up the price more. And that's what it all comes down to. Everything, groceries, everything nowadays. The credit cards and technology was ruined the cost. Years ago, the economy was controlled by this. What you had in your wallet was it. There was no such thing as credit cards, no nothing. What you had in your wallet, what you spent was it. You shot your wad, that is it. You can't do nothing to get paid again. I told my wife last 20 years ago, 25 years ago, no, it's actually almost about 30 years ago. I'll tell you one thing, it's the worst thing you ever did is having credit cards. It's going to cause the cost of living to go up. It's going to cause greed. It's going to cause supply and demand. Everything's going to go up to the ceiling. And ain't no stopping to it. And pretty soon, like President Roosevelt said back in the 1940s, back in the late 1930s, during the Great Depression, he said, keep buying until it hurts. That's right. It hurts, buddy. It does, real bad. I'm going to close that door right there because it's getting a little chilly out there. Open that door a little bit so let the fumes out of here because this, between the paint and stuff like that, I don't want to keep the place well ventilated. Oh boy, it's getting dry now. I can touch it now, but I can't do no sanding on it because it's a little tacky. It feels like cheese. It feels like the tackiness of cheesecloth. Oh, the other side's almost there too. That looks pretty good. It does. You see the version of the corrosion on that stuff. Here's something you don't see every day. I built this about 55 years ago. This is the Italian liner Andrew. I built that about 55 years ago. My dad watched me as I was building this thing. He used to yell at me all the time. I had it in the museum in San Diego for about 4 years, and I finally got it back. It was on loan. He wanted to buy it off me, but I said, no, I'm going to keep that. So I loaned it out to him. I used lacquer paint in that thing. Not enamels, nothing but lacquer paint. And lacquers makes it really look it don't yellow on you and stuff. I dusted off probably about a couple months ago. I got a lot of shits in here that slowly but surely I'm gonna finish them all, they get done. Right here, I've been on this thing about 7 months right here, so I need to get this thing done. I'm almost all bleeding through this tape. I know damn well there is. Not too much. It's got to be touched up. Not too bad. Boy, I think there's tears on it. Oh, ain't too bad. You didn't bleed too bad. I can touch up with airbrush. Yeah, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Tape off there. Territorial. I mean, you got to be very careful. I don't want to mess up the paint job of this. There we go. Beautiful. And I still got to do some touch up with there. Not too bad. I can touch up with airbrush. Yeah, I built that around 19, what, 68, 69. I built that. I was still in the Navy when I was doing that. Yeah, I was around 1969. Took about 3 years to finish it. So it was about that, about around that time. I used DuPont paint on it. I remember that. It came in cans. They didn't have battle cans of that paint back in the days. It came in it came in gallon cans. You had to buy it at the dealer, like a Chevy dealer or a Ford dealer. But all the paints that automotive paints used back in the days were called DuPont. And if you knew somebody in the showroom, the garage who worked on there, they sold you a can of stuff. Back in the day, it cost $25 for a gallon of that stuff. And it lasts for ages. Now after I touch up the black on this thing, now I gotta make a white stripe right across here. They have gun ports on it. That's where the gun deck was at. Yeah, this thing is not real good. It won't much bleed out at all. I gotta touch up behind the stern around there. Yeah, touch up around there and just around this area here. Not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. It's almost dry. Look at that. I couldn't find no turpentine. That turpentine's hard to find. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, ever since EPA got on everybody about having enamel paints and all, everything went to acrylic, like water-based stuff. So if you don't got turpentine, this stuff works. Paint solvent has acetone in it. That works very good. This is done with oil paints, all the grains and whites. It dries up just like that. Add that heat to it. Done. Then I'm going to take some sandpaper, sand this down very lightly. It will dull it out, and plus it will bring out a little bit of that copper on it, you can see. While I do that, I'm going to go ahead and mask this here, back here on the stern. Where I have a little overbleed right there. Also on the bow. I've got an overbleed here too. Everything here on it's perfect. Wasn't that much overbleed because I was under new oil. I had to do some masking and touch up anyway. This comes with a screw. This is a steam frigate. It's almost like that of the sweep of war that Captain Raphael Sims had, the CSS Alabama. It's got a screw back here. Now, to my surprise, when I was doing some research on this thing, because I was watching all day long, I was watching videos of this in real life, walk around, people walking on it and touring on the ship. And I seen it, says, that thing retractable? Sure enough, it is. Well, on the kit, it didn't have a hole cut through there. If I'd known that, I would have cut a square hole through there. Because that screw, what it does, it will retract right back in here because they got a hoist. It runs on a motor. And it pulls up that screw. So if this thing want to make a fast getaway from the enemy, just like the CS Alabama did, they'll lower that screw, engage it to the propeller shaft, the stepping box or propeller shaft, whatever you want to call it, engage it, start the engine up, the boiler, get the boilers fired up, and the screw will start turning, and use the sail, the combination of sail and steam, it'll really get away real quick. But normally at sea, when they ain't using steam, I go ahead and pull that screw. The screw will come all the way into there. It'll keep the drag and everything. And there you go. The deck's been all planked and everything. Well, this came out good. It sure did. It takes a lot of work to get the hull done before you go anywhere else. When the hull's all finished, then you go to your channels. Then you go to your cosmetic parts on your deck, put your deck furniture on and stuff, waterways and such. A lot of work. But believe me, it's worth it, guys. It really is. A little tacky. A little tacky. The tackiness of cheesecloth. I wonder if I turn this light off, I get a good better view of it. Yeah, sure can. Nice. I like that. You guys see my tips and everything. See how I'm doing things like this. I've been building these things since about 3 years old. Like I mentioned in previous videos, when I was 3 years old, all available at the time was wood kits, a lot of paper models, and wood stick and tissue models, rubber bands you can fly. Plastic didn't come to views around the early 1950s. After Revell came out in 1954, they came out with their plastic models. Now, Monogram made some wooden ones back in 1945, after World War II. They're called Speedy Built kits. They had a combination of plastic parts and balsa wood, and they flew too. I think the first Speedy Built kit I bought was a Mr. Mulligan. That was a good kit. They had the B-25, B-17. They were big jobs back in those days. I just gave them for Christmas. My dad got me a B-17 one time. I said, wow. It was all wood and everything. Had plastic props, plastic cows. Landing gear was plastic. They had plastic cockpits, canopies. Landing gear struts were all plastic. Everything else was just wood. Yeah, there's way out here too. Well, let's turn the light back on. Oh, I gotta adjust this light again so it doesn't give me a problem here. Ready to pull the tape off here. Boy, not much booyah either. The same thing on the other side. Waterline's nice and crisp. So here, so you can see the hell I'm doing here. Just a little touch up right there. Looking at nice. We'll touch up on the stern. I was planning on doing some airbrushing and masking off anyway, but it's very subtle, not that bad. Wonderful. Wunderbar. Wunderbar, they say in Germany. There we go. Happy, happy. Very happy. I'll take a break here. Now here an hour and a half already, which is pretty good. The actual color on the ship, as you see, the hull is black, an antique, the waterline simulating erosion from salt water, corrosion from salt water, using greens and whites, and the bowsprit and mask are kind of like a yellow tan color, like a very light yellow color, almost like a lemon color. And yards, the same thing. They painted lemon too as well. The deck is on just natural shellac, it's natural basswood with shellac on the decks. I got to re-lacquer some shellac on it too. But before I do anything, I got to sand and roll leaf on this thing real good. Give it a little sanding. Then I'm gonna mask off the waterline from here, and the airbrush just right here. A little bleed right here, as you can see. Very subtle. Very, very subtle here too. Mask this off. Then I'll go ahead and paint that in there. Airbrush around there. Then when it's all done, tidy up, I'm gonna go ahead and mask this off here, and I'll add my white cross there, and put my gun bays on there, a shutter bays. Yeah. So mask that off with tape. Hit it with some black. Stuff's almost dry. Tacky though, has the tackiness of cheesecloth. It'll get hard. I go back and take sandpaper, sand it down. We'll dull it out. Take it. I think I copper back a little bit too. First, like I say, when it's copper hull, you take your white paint, you put vertical slice on it, then you come back with a green put on, and add you got to keep on adding thinner to it, your turpentine or acetone, until it's completely all meld together real good. you soften the colors up and mix them again. I use 2 different greens. I use the dark, like a real dark forest green color. I use the other green color here, which is like a kind of like a, you call it, what kind of green would that be? Like a dark lime green. Then you just take your thinners and mix them together, and it'll come together. Make sure you use vertical stripes. Then if it starts getting too dark, take your white, add your white, bring that white to it, and it'll actually make it more lighter. You control it. You control the greens with your whites. That whole smooth. It was all plank and frame across there. And Billings gives you the little small itty bitty nails. They're probably about a 1/4 inch long. And you got, remember, you got plank and frame, you got the bulkhead frames. You got to take a hammer and nail those planks like you're doing a real ship. Nail those planks in there. You sand down real well, add your filler and prime, fill, prime, fill, and prime, so it's good and smooth. You go ahead and paint your model out. Yeah. Cannons are all brass. There's a lot of cannons, a lot of those. Yeah, I love those old Billing Boat kits. They're pretty good. It can be pretty hard, guys, buying stuff on the internet now, especially overseas. Since Mr. Trump put the tariffs on these people, you can't get nothing overseas anymore. You can't get no more Dean Marine kits no more. Can't get no paper models across no more. Anything that's made in England or Denmark or stuff like that, you can't get no more. At least on the internet. You probably get the old-fashioned way. You probably have to write them a letter. You send them a money order, or put your credit card number on there or something. Boy, I tell you, there's always something out there to gun up the works. You always got somebody with a pipe wrench ready to throw it in the works. Horrible. My poor Pappy, he can't get his Oklahoma anymore. Only place he has to get that is probably on eBay, but they come all the time on eBay. Well, we got 7 watching, 8 thumbs up. That's good. I think what I'm going to do, let this thing dry. I think another 15 minutes. We're going to close off this video. We'll come back at 9 o'clock live on the V24 Liberator. You guys will like that. So will I. So next step to do is dull up. I want to dull this out with some sandpaper. Bring that little bit of copper here and there on it. Then we'll come back and touch up the hull here. And I'm going to mask off here and get the white for the gun base on there. Get that done, then we'll do that tomorrow. At 9 o'clock, we'll get back on that V24 over there. I know you guys want to see that going on here. That way I'm killing 2 models at once, you know. I'm getting something done. Don't bleed here, just on the stern. Bow. Very subtle on both sides. I will take care of that. That'll be done tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I can drop this Hoslips too. That's no problem. Beautiful. Yeah, it's so tacky. It's got to be really rock hard dry right before I sand this thing. If I sand it now, I'll clog up that sandpaper and it'd be worthless. And I got to do it all over again. Okay, Peppy, hit the part sack, take a nap. 9 o'clock, we're going to start the B24 build. I think I'm going to do is knock off now, guys. We'll get on the B24 build at 9 o'clock. So you guys return at 9 o'clock. I'll be back with the B24 Liberator. We'll get that thing ready to go. And so I'm going to let this dry. It's not too bad. Two live action videos in one day is not bad at all. It's pretty good, I think. My mojo's all fired back up again because I had a good sleep last couple of days. You know, I was tired. I can say I sleep catch up with you because I haven't sleeping properly because I'm up all night long, about 5 o'clock, 9, 6 in the morning, and I first thing I'll take a nap, get up at 9 o'clock, and up all day long doing something. Then I'll take another nap, I'm up again, pretty soon it's just like that. It all catches up with you, it really does. So I'm gonna let this dry for the night, and then tomorrow we'll resume on this and back on the B24. God love everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and for the 3 viewers that are watching this video right now, and 6 thumbs up. I appreciate it very much. All my new and old subscribers, thank you very much for tuning in. Your wonderful candor and also your comments are very welcome to me, into my heart. And I'm trying to brush up my videos on that I've been doing lately. I had a lot of things going on around the house I didn't like, and it's kind of killed my mojo a little making videos. But I consider the word of the millennial is called "is what it is." So it is. It is what it is. And I can't let it bother me. Life's too short. To me, it is. And make mama happy. Take care of little ones. Stay focused. Keep driving. Aware of your surroundings. Say your prayers. God bless everybody. We'll catch you guys at 9 o'clock. So on this night's show in the V24 Liberator of the Monogram. Operation Tidal Wave in action. Yeah. Frankie Day. We'll see you guys. See you guys tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. God bless everybody.